Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Ripple may have already agreed to settlement terms with the SEC. The XRP community's been talking about this for roughly the past 12 hours, thanks to comments and opinions shared by XRP community member and attorney Jeremy Hogan, who has said basically, look, it's possible that Ripple and the SEC have already agreed to settle the case and we just don't know it yet. And it's possible we're just waiting on SEC commissioners to approve the agreement. But why? Well, because Ripple has failed to reply to a time-sensitive SEC letter. And so credit goes to Jeremy Hogan running the YouTube channel Legal Briefs, and been growing like crazy. He's now up to 110,000 subscribers. Whoa, congratulations, my friend. Incredible. And so people have been talking about this, but it's interesting to me also that it's not just Jeremy Hogan that thinks this. It's also attorney John Deaton who believes that more likely than not, Jeremy Hogan's right about this. And of course, Jeremy Hogan is the attorney who is seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case on behalf of over 19,000 XRP holders. So I want to share with you his thoughts in this video as well. And I'll share with you some of the core reasons that Jeremy thinks what he thinks, but he did an excellent job breaking down everything. So if you want all the specifics, I strongly encourage you to check out his video after this one. Also, I want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos all up on the internets. It's a good time, damn it, I insist. And so here's what Jeremy Hogan tweeted out roughly 12 hours ago, a little bit less than that, but anyway. New video. What's up with the internal SEC documents? How about the Hinman deposition? What the heck is going on? Watch out for rampant speculation and talk of settlement. Also, Muppets, Baby Yoda, and Old Spice. And if you want to understand the last bit of that, you're just going to have to watch his video. Inside jokes for the rest of us, though, right? And so, look, and also I want to mention this, too. And Jeremy Hogan, I think he worded this quite saliently, artfully. It's very unlikely that William Hinman was actually questioned under oath because it's a virtual certainty that we would have heard something from Ripple's attorneys. And why? Well, because if the deposition happened, it's a virtual certainty that there would have been complaints to the court because the SEC, undoubtedly, I think, would have claimed privilege in an attempt to prevent Hinman from answering honest questions from Ripple's legal team. So that clearly didn't happen. We haven't seen a thing from Ripple on that front. And so, is it the case that Ripple's legal team and William Hinman and the SEC side, they're all just harmonious now and they're all just getting along? Or is it more likely that the deposition never happened? Well, I'll bet on the latter. If I had to bet, I'd bet on the latter. So if Ripple decided they no longer need to question William Hinman, why might that be, if not due to an imminent settlement? There could be other reasons for this, but John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan think this is what's most likely. And it comes down to this. There's this tweet from Jeremy Hogan. This was on July 23rd, 2021, in which he wrote, "Although the statement by Commissioners Peirce and Roisman was a blessing for Ripple, it is even doubly so for the individual defendants for which the SEC has to prove that they knew or recklessly disregarded securities laws." And so what he's citing there is the piece, which is actually currently on the SEC's website, written by 2 of 5 commissioners, Hester Peirce, Elad Roisman, who made their case that the SEC has not ever, and hasn't to this point, even today, provided sufficient regulatory clarity. They cited market confusion, and this plays into Ripple's fair notice defense, which has serious teeth. It's very strong, and you know that the SEC attorneys could not have been happy with Hester and Elad. And so that's what he was referencing in that tweet. And then he wrote, "Expect to see the Ripple reply shortly." And so ultimately it was the attorneys for Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, and Ripple, because they're all defendants, all three. It was the case that initially Brad and Chris's attorneys filed on the same day, and then the next day Ripple's attorneys did file saying, "Hey, look at what Hester and Elad said," and then the SEC responded to Ripple. They responded to Chris Larson's attorneys, and they responded to Brad Garlinghouse's attorneys. And then after that, it was the case that Brad and Chris's attorneys wrote yet another response, but we haven't seen one from Ripple. See? And so that's why he wrote, expect to see the Ripple reply shortly. That was on July 23rd. What is it, the 30th now? I think it's the 30th. No reply. Fascinating, right? Because, you know, this is something that would be time sensitive, actually. There would be no reason to take a week to craft some sort of additional reply here. And so, you know, if there hasn't been something crafted here, why would that be? Why would Ripple's legal team just suddenly decide, nah, we're just not going to do this? Why we're not gonna because look, it's time sensitive. You'd think that they'd be rushing this thing out if it were necessary. And so, given that it looks like perhaps the Hinman deposition didn't occur and Ripple's legal team just not taking action here, what else is it if not settlement? And then technically, yes, of course, and Jeremy Hogan notes this too. It could be other things, but what seems most probable at this point? You know, because if it seems like there's not a need to respond to the SEC, that makes sense. And look, what would be an indication that the case has not been settled? Well, the answer is if there's a court filing. He said, Hogan said by today, July 30th. But look, lawyers that I follow in this space within the XRP community, they've all pretty well stated, even if settlement talks have been going on in the background the whole time, they probably have been on and off, you know, you still proceed with the case as usual because you can't hope or assume that it's actually going to settle. So if we're actually at a point where there hasn't been actual progression on these fronts that I've cited here in this video, look, Ripple would continue to press forward. So if we're not seeing that, what's going on if not settlement? You've got to wonder, right? And so here's what attorney John Deaton had to say. So I have like 200 direct messages asking me about a video that some attorney did suggesting that a potential settlement could be afoot between the SEC and Ripple. I mean, who does Jeremy Hogan think he is? With his Ryan Reynolds good looks, great hair, perfectly groomed facial hair, lovable geeky sense of humor, and superior legal acumen. What the hell does that guy know? Well put, John Deaton. And he says, actually a lot. I watched Jeremy Hogan's recent video and definitely agree that a few things don't add up considering how contentious the last hearing was. In fact, after the parties informed the court that they had reached an agreement regarding the Hinman deposition going forward, I tweeted out a prediction that Judge Netburn would ultimately have to rule on the privilege issue related to both the Bitcoin and Ether discovery and the Hinman deposition. Don't forget that the Ripple attorney informed the judge that despite her two orders, the SEC had not produced one single document. Ripple's attorney stated that the SEC was taking the position that every single document was protected by privilege. And so let me just pause right there. If the SEC to that point still had not gotten out a single document, and if we're not seeing any additional bitching on that front, why might that be? Or actually, more importantly, forget about the bitching aside. Maybe we'll see more bitching in the future if this thing doesn't settle. But the SEC, knowing that there's a court order for them to produce this stuff, have they just been delaying to figure out if they really want to follow through with this? Because it's not like there are legal consequences if they don't. It's just going to harm their case, and it could be completely shut down. Like the judge could go so far. I've learned thanks to John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan, the judge could go so far as to say, look, if you're not going to produce these documents as court ordered, this case is effectively over. And so, if the fact that they haven't done that, it could be because they recognize getting this information out could harm future litigations with other entities in the crypto space. And so maybe it's just like they're hedging their bets. It's like, do we really want to take on Ripple? What are the odds that we're going to find success? It makes you wonder, right? And then John continues here. Furthermore, the SEC attorney stated she would instruct Hinman not to answer any questions regarding his speech and communications with other SEC staff. The SEC attorney argued on the record that any such documents or communications were part of the deliberative process. But Hinman's speech was allegedly his personal opinion, never adopted as official SEC policy or guidance. If it's his personal opinion, then how could it be part of the deliberative process of the SEC? The SEC didn't deliberate or decide anything if it's a personal opinion. Hence, I predicted Judge Netburn would have to decide what's protected by privilege and what's not protected. Right? And so, to pause there just one more time, real quick, given that we haven't seen anything from Ripple formally asking the court to take some sort of action having to do with this, did the deposition happen? I will yield to the sage wisdom of John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan. They've made a compelling case. They got it. We all don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. They don't know for sure. But it seems like they've made such a compelling case, perhaps that is indeed likely. And then John Deaton wrote, like Jeremy, it is difficult for me to believe every single document and communication is privileged. Usually, the judge would review the documents herself and decide. Bottom line, if we don't see Ripple file a motion to compel and or request a ruling on the issue of privilege very soon, then I doubt Hinman's deposition went forward, and agree with my friend Jeremy, was trying to say whatever he was being shushed about in that video. And so he is referencing the settlement there. And as far as the shushing, if you want to know what he's talking about, you're just going to have to watch Jeremy Hogan's video. It's kind of funny, though, the way he wrapped up the video. But he was talking about settlement, absolutely. And so then there was this. Somebody named Kingdom Builder 5 asked Jeremy Hogan, do you think Ripple going live in Japan with on-demand liquidity would have strengthened their case the more if it isn't settled? And for those of you who hadn't heard, indeed, there is a new on-demand liquidity corridor. It's actually live today from Japan to the Philippines. I've made a video about it. And Jeremy Hogan responded to that with the following. That cuts both ways. It helps the utility argument and hurts the no correlation argument, assuming the price really spiked from the news. Yeah, and so I did want to say something about that because I think it's plausible, perhaps, that the price of XRP did go up the other day when it went up 15% in 1 hour. It happened an hour after the announcement from Ripple, and I would have thought it would happen sooner if it's truly correlating, but that could be the reason. That is big news, and I don't know, I guess it's kind of weird if not, given that it's actually big news, but usually the news doesn't impact price. It is verifiably true that for the vast majority the entirety of the time that XRP's been live and traded on exchanges, it just moves in tandem with the rest of the asset class. And so you have to zoom out on a chart to see that. But Ripple's, whatever developments, whatever's happening to them surrounding XRP, no, that doesn't impact it. So it doesn't mean it never could. It just means that the instances where Ripple did something and it moved the price of XRP, those instances are the outliers, actually. Which is why for most of the last 3.5+ years I've been in the space, people have endlessly been bitching up a storm. Ripple's doing awesome. Look at the good news. How come price doesn't move? Well, because it's not correlated to that. People are just betting on the whole market. So and that is absolutely provably true. But yeah, I don't blame for. But as far as Jeremy Hogan said, I said the same thing. Like in case that, like, there could be the case this most recent instance as a result of this news. Perhaps that's the reason XRP went. I'll acknowledge that, but I still to this point I don't know. There's no way to know for sure. And then there's somebody named Michael asked the following: so you think it may be settled already? When will they announce? And Jeremy Hogan wrote, a case this big / complicated could take a week to hash out, and then commissioners have to approve it, etc. So if this is the case, and who knows when this agreement could have come, at some point, presumably within the last week, since we haven't seen that reply to Ripple, as I cited earlier in this video, to the SEC's most recent legal filing. Maybe it's already gone a week, in which case we might have just days to find out, or who knows, if it maybe took a little bit longer and maybe you have to wait over a week from this point. I don't pretend to know, but either way, if Jeremy's suspicions and John's suspicions are correct, we're not going to have to wait that much longer to finally have this thing settled. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens to XRP price, by the way, if this indeed is settled and there's actual clarity surrounding XRP and the space feels confident about it. And then I would expect shortly thereafter to see news about cryptocurrency exchanges relisting XRP in the United States. And then there was this. Somebody named Rob wrote the following to Jeremy Hogan. If Hinman's opinion is that that of the SEC's, why are we here? And why didn't Ripple seek an advisory opinion before they sold their coins? I got to pause right there. They did. In fact, the SEC got these confidential documents from Ripple. We don't know who leaked them. We don't know if it's Jed McCaleb, but Ripple did get an advisory opinion that said that the SEC, there was risk that the SEC could come after them, but that would not mean that the SEC would be correct in doing so. And then Rob continued, is Ripple decentralized like Ethereum as they claim? I think not. Thus, Hinman's opinion on Ethereum could be useless. Now, that's just factually, provably incorrect. XRP is perhaps even more decentralized than Ethereum, if anything. There is no central point of failure. Ripple has no special permissions over the ledger, and they control, I believe it's 6 out of a little over 150 validators on the network. They've even proposed amendments via the XRP ledger's built-in amendment process to change the ledger, and failed because they don't have any special powers. They really don't. So your position there, Rob, we got to state you are incorrect. But Jeremy Hogan responded with the following, which I found interesting. What really threw me over the edge was not the Hinman deposition, but that Ripple never replied to the SEC response. That I cannot explain, except that they didn't respond because there's no longer a need to. And I hope that's the case. I really do. I would love for this all to be over. I know everybody listening would too, right? As interesting and fun as the drama has been, right? Jeremy Hogan also wrote this. This is a separate tweet. If it's not settlement, then there's something else going on that's big, but we're not privy to. Yeah, exactly. So that's certainly true. I don't know what that would be, but it is weird to have not seen any filings given what's been going on of late. Peculiar, yes? So we'll see. We'll see. But I'll go ahead and wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.